Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Friday edition of Today in Sports Betting Part 2. Again, it's probably my favorite show of the week as Scott and I lay out our three favorite plays. We compete for supremacy here at the Winners and Whiners stable. And Scott, fittingly enough, we are all tied up for the season, sir. After 42 games, after 14 weeks of college football, both of us stand 22-19-1 against the spread, of course. In case you're wondering, that's 53.65% with an ROI of 4.9%. So we have been profitable, but nobody's buying any new houses unless they bet a shit ton of money on each one of these picks.
Sounds good to me. I'm just happy to be in the green.
Just happy to be just an honor to be nominated.
I'm happy to not embarrass myself. That's really what I'm trying to say.
All right. So I did not talk about your record last week.
Yeah, it was probably the worst performance in the history of the show because I think all three of my plays are lost by at least, I don't even know, 20 points. I got absolutely blown out last week. It wasn't even close.
You had Miami -3.
That was fun. Miami was fun. They gave up 800 yards. That was fun.
That did not go well.
I should have given out the over.
You had Fresno, New Mexico under 60.
Not even close.
No.
That game finished with, I forgot what, 80? 70 something?
Yeah.
I actually beat a 4-point line move on that game, but unfortunately that did not matter.
And you had what should have been a first half play in Colorado -2.5, a game that I didn't hate, and I actually bet that on my own.
Well, that was really a weird line movement because Colorado went from -2.5 to +2.5 before kickoff, and I really wasn't sure why. There weren't any injuries or anything like that. But Colorado had, I forgot what they were up. They were up 7, I think, and then the running back fumbled the ball with like 5 seconds to go in the first half, and I'm just like, take a knee. What are we doing here? And then Utah kicked the field goal, and the second half was a wrap.
Yeah, it totally turned the momentum around there right before halftime.
But yeah, I wasn't close. All three of my plays were lost by at least 17 points.
Utah dominated that second half.
I'll admit it. It was definitely the worst performance I've had all year.
It happens. It happens. Well, I mean, it happened to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think that was the first collar any of us wore this year.
I went 0 for once before, but that was I had a bad beat in there or two. This one wasn't even close. It was just a wrap at that point.
Well, and I had the Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan over. That went over.
That was a no-doubter win right there.
I had San Diego State plus 17.5 against BYU. I thought that defense would show up, and they did just enough. And I had Coastal Carolina, and I thought I was going to go 3-0. Scott, Coastal Carolina gets up 14-0 in the first quarter. Like, yeah, we're going to cruise here over Troy. And then it became a dogfight the rest of the way.
Props to Coastal for coming back and winning because I'm happy they're undefeated now. I'm not sure if they're going to even play in a bowl game, but
yeah,
if they don't, it'll go down as I know an all-time non-Power 5 season is a little bit of an exaggeration. I'll remember it.
Yeah,
I mean for whatever that means.
I would have loved to see them in a good bowl game. They weren't. I don't think they were going to make a New Year's bowl game with Cincinnati still there in the mix, but I would have liked to see them play a good first-tier Power 5 school and see how they squared up other than BYU. So,
well, the two games that I would have loved to have seen, as I said last week, was Cincinnati versus Georgia. Cincinnati hasn't played in a month, but hopefully that game gets played tomorrow in the conference title game. And, then you had Coastal, who I wanted to play the loser of Iowa State, Oklahoma.
Yeah, those would have been solid games. I would have taken that. And, Coastal's not dead yet as far as playing.
No, but I'm saying even if they do play, they might be down 20-something people.
Possible.
Like that. So they might get embarrassed in a bowl game, and people might think, "Oh, I knew they were frauds." And it's like, no, you don't understand that this team was actually really, really good.
Yeah, they are. And I don't, Scott. They're going to be good going forward too, as long as they've got Grayson McCall.
I'm curious how long that head coach sticks around.
Yeah, that is the question, whether he gets sniped this year or next year.
I think he's got to be, right?
Yeah, he's certainly going to get offers. Certainly going to get offers. Whether he finds the right one this year is certainly the question. Again, you and I we talked about this kid from the beginning about Grayson McCall and how much we loved him, and he's going to be I think he's going to be the real deal. I really do. All right.
I can't really argue with that.
All right, so let's not live in the past or what might have been. We got to talk about what is going to be. And I'll let you start, Scott. Losers walk.
Yep. So for this one, I'll be talking about a couple of high-profile matchups here with pretty decent spreads.
By the way, I'm going to interrupt before you get started. Scott has predicted once again that him and I will agree on one of these picks. We do not discuss our picks before we do the show. We have no idea what the other one's picking. He has predicted that we will match up on at least one pick. So I just wanted to say that going forward. All right, hit it.
Well, I said that last week, so we'll see what happens this time.
That's right.
Fingers crossed. First play is going to be on a conference title game on a team that arguably shouldn't be in the conference title. It's going to be on Ohio State, minus the 19.5 as they take on Northwestern. That line's available at minus 114 on FanDuel. It's mostly available at minus 20, even 20.5 in some spots, but FanDuel still has 19.5 at minus 114. Thank you. I'll take that to the bank. Simply put, we know year in, year out, Ohio State's the best team in the conference by far. They have the better athletes. They just kill everybody in their path. This year really hasn't been much of a difference. I know that Indiana gave them a run for their money, but I think Indiana's actually really good. Other than that, though, they've kind of just smacked every team in their way. Northwestern had a really good start to the year as they were originally undefeated. Then they lost to Michigan State. Ohio State was down 20 players and a head coach. They beat Michigan State by 40. But looking at Northwestern, I've seen this team play. Ramsey, just simply put, is not very good. I think that he will struggle against this elite Buckeyes defense. I think that Northwestern's defense will struggle to keep up with the speed of Ohio State. These teams have faced off before in the conference title game. Ohio State smacked them before. I don't see this being much of a difference. Am I going to overreact because Northwestern beat an Illinois team by 18? No, Illinois is terrible. I think Ohio State will come in. They know that if they win this game, they're in the college football playoff. I think they're going to smack this team. So for me, I hope this game is close, but in reality, I think Ohio State wins by at least 3 touchdowns. I don't see this game being close for more than a half. Give me Ohio State.
Okay. Is this the game you thought we'd have in common?
I think we're going to have one of the whatever games. This could be it. I said we might have multiple. Who knows?
Okay. Well.
Do you have Ohio State?
I have a play from this game, so I don't know that it counts. I've got the under.
Okay.
I've got the under 57.5, and
that does not count because we have different plays.
It uses a lot of the same logic that you used, however. I think this Northwestern offense has been pretty dreadful all season long. They've lived on their defense. I think they're going to have absolutely nothing on the offensive side of the ball for Ohio State.
What's Northwestern's biggest win of the year? Wisconsin?
Yeah.
I know that they beat Iowa. They beat Iowa earlier in the year, so I guess. But
okay, well, yeah, with Iowa's didn't end up being more of a real deal than Wisconsin. On the surface, you'd say Wisconsin, but yeah, as it turned out, it's probably Iowa's going to be their biggest win.
Yeah.
But this is a team that has been offensively challenged all year long. They just do it. They do it with defensive stands. They do it with not letting their opposition put up a lot of points. They do it with just draining the clock via the run. I don't think their offense is going to have anything for Ohio State. I'd be surprised to see Northwestern put up more than 14. I think the Northwestern defense is going to be good enough to slow down Ohio State just enough.
You don't think that Ohio State is going to spread them out wide and just let the speed disadvantage kind of take its course for Northwestern?
I think that's what they'll do, but I think Ohio State probably put up 35-38 in this one.
So, in other words, you got 38-14, which means we're both pretty happy by the outcome.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with your pick at all. I don't think Northwestern has anything for them in this game.
You know, Ohio State's going to try to silence some doubters who basically said you shouldn't be here, blah. I know that, of course, you make the argument that they shouldn't be here because they didn't fit the criteria, but you know that that's just bulletin board material at this point. Like, people didn't want us here, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go out and win by 50.
I agree. And you've got him at what, minus 19.5, you said?
Yeah, I see 19.5 at minus 114 on FanDuel.
All right, very good. Next pick.
So my second pick is going to be on another high-profile conference title game. I don't really know what else to say besides Roll Tide. It's going to be Bama minus 17 at minus 110 on BetOnline. Yes, 17 is a decent amount of points. Do I really care? No. I know Florida moving down one spot is probably the biggest joke of the entire college football season. You lose to a team with a losing record at home as a 24-point favorite, and Florida moves down one spot in the rankings. Are you serious, committee? at least hide your corruptness. You got to try something. But this Florida team, their offense is pretty good. Their defense is atrocious. And Bama is a world beater right now. I think Bama is just going to destroy this team. It's a matter of Florida. Can they score 35-plus points? Maybe, maybe not. I thought Florida's offense wasn't as sharp against LSU as it probably should have been because LSU's defense is terrible. But you look at Mac Jones, you look at Devontae Smith, you look at Harris, you look at everybody. Is there really any way Bama's not going to score 48 to 50-something points? I don't see it.
That's a dreadful Florida defense.
The defense is terrible. They're pretty good at throwing shoes, though. But looking at the matchup here, I'm going to take Bama. I know that's a lot of points, but is it really enough? I know Florida can say, yeah, we're motivated. People are counting us at whatever. I don't care. Bama's going to go out there, and you know they're going to put up 40-something plus, and I think they're going to win this game by 21 or more. I'll take Bama.
Don't hate that. All right, very good. I'm gonna take another conference championship game here, and that's from the Big 12. Play the dog, Iowa State, Scott.
Because they already beat them once this year?
It certainly has something to do with it, but I just think this is a team that's playing well right now. I know Oklahoma has certainly been able to kind of pull their shit together after a couple bad losses. But if you look at who they've beaten, it really isn't really an impressive rogues gallery. They've beaten TCU, Texas Tech, Kansas.
The Oklahoma State one was pretty good.
The Oklahoma State game was pretty good, although that's an Oklahoma State team where the quarterback was injured.
Yeah.
And he really, even more than Chuba Hubbard, I think, makes that offense go. And then they were able to sneak by Baylor 27-14 as a 24-point favorite, basically. I just think this is a team it's ripe for underachieving. I'm still not sold on
Rattler or Lincoln Riley?
Rattler, yeah.
I don't like Rattler either.
No,
but he's also fresh. He's got time to mature, but he makes some really, really bad decisions.
I think he could be good, but he's a guy that's susceptible to deception on defense, to throw different looks at him.
He's always a threat to throw a pick on pretty much every
always a threat to throw a pick because he doesn't read what's happening extremely well. I like Iowa State catching. I've got it at 5.5 right now. Do you see that any better anywhere?
I see 6 offshore. Let me see if I can find something. I know that there are 6s available, so you can probably pick up an extra point.
All right, then I'll take the 6.
I'll look on some legal sites briefly to see if I can find anything else. But my question for you, do you think Matt Campbell, do you think this is potentially his second to last game with Iowa State?
Yes. Yes, I
think he's making a leap?
No, I think there's a guy that, if you watched our last show, I think there's a guy that could be interested in the Auburn job.
Now, here's a guy. Who'd be interested in the Auburn job.
Yeah, I think a job similar to that. I think he's definitely going to move into a top-tier Power 5 job.
Didn't he just sign a massive extension, though?
You know that doesn't matter.
No, what I'm saying, the buyout on that's going to be huge.
Yeah, it is.
So for the legal sites, I see 5.5, but I definitely saw 6 offshore. So okay. you can get 6 if you want it.
All right, 6 it is.
Cool.
All right, what you got for your last one?
So my last one is going to be not a conference title game. It's going to be on a team that, they kind of screwed me about a week or two ago. But I think this line's a little bit too low. It's going to be on a matchup in the SEC. I have a feeling you know where I'm going with this one. It's going to be Missouri, minus the 1 as they take on Mississippi State. I don't really think this line makes any sense. Now, the main reason why I'm a little bit skeptical on this line is because Mississippi State has been awful all year long. Now, you can say, well, Missouri got killed last week. Yes, against the top 10 team in the country. You look at Mississippi State and how they've performed. They beat LSU. We already know about that, the 600 passing yard game. Since then, lost to Arkansas, lost to Kentucky, lost to A&M, lost to Bama, lost to Georgia, lost to Ole Miss, lost to Auburn. The only win they have since the opener
Vanderbilt
against Vandy, and it's by 7. This team stinks. Now, Missouri, you can make the argument, well, they lost to Georgia, they got killed. True. Before that, though, beat South Carolina, beat Vanderbilt 41-0, and they ended up beating Arkansas about 50-48. Now, is Missouri a great team? No, not necessarily. but I think they're good enough to beat this Mississippi State team, which hasn't really beaten anybody all year long. I think this game will be close, but at the end of the day, we already have seen what to expect from Mississippi State's offense all year long. Not very good. And Missouri's offense, pretty underrated. I think Missouri will win the game. So for that reason, I think -1's a gift against this Mississippi State team, which is probably the second worst team in the entire conference. I'll lay the 1.
Yeah, we backed this Mississippi State team last week against Auburn, and they continually let us down. Absolutely nothing going on.
They can't move the ball.
Huh?
They can't move the ball.
Can't move the ball at all. Just dreadful on the offensive side of the ball. They don't play good enough defense to stop this Mizzou team. I don't hate that. That's a solid play. I looked at that one.
I just find the line very, very interesting there. You could say, well, Mississippi State's the home team in this game, and it's a matter of congratulations. Your only home win this year is against Vandy as 18-point favorites by 7. So I'll go Missouri.
All right, very good. Scott, I'm going to play one here that's probably going to surprise you.
Oh, boy. Can I guess what you're taking?
Sure, go ahead.
It's going to surprise me?
It might surprise you, yeah.
Okay, is it obscure, or you just mean just on the team you're backing?
No, based on the team I'm backing. It's not obscure. It's going to be a conference championship game.
Oh, it's a conference championship. Okay, I was going to go out on a limb and say Florida State plus the points. I thought you were going way off the reservation.
Woo!
I thought you were going way off the reservation. I gave you way too much credit for that one.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
I'm
did.
assuming you're taking the points with Tulsa because Cincinnati hasn't played in a month.
I am. That's exactly
Is it because
right.
Cincinnati hasn't played in a month?
Yep, that's exactly right. This is a Tulsa team that you look at them and you watch them play and you look at them on paper, you're like, I don't know why this team.
They're the comeback kids.
They are the second half team. They are a dreadful second half team. If you want to be fancy.
No, they're a dreadful first half team. You mean?
That's why a dreadful first half team. Correct. Yeah, a great second half team. If you want to be fancy, play Cincinnati minus the points in the first half. Play Tulsa full game. But I think
that's a sweat and a half. But Tulsa has been really good with halftime adjustments.
Yes, they have, and they're a good offensive team, but they do have a great defense. I think they're going to be able to slow down this Cincinnati offense. Like we were talking about earlier, Cincinnati hasn't played in a month. This is a Tulsa team that sneaks up on people. I think they're undervalued. I think this game should be closer to 10. Give me I'm catching right now 14, and I know there's been 14.5 out there as well. You give me 2 touchdowns or more with this Tulsa team. I'm going to take them.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I knew as you said conference title game, I kind of figured out the angle you were going with there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I certainly narrowed it down for you because I think that's the last one, isn't it? That's the only other one.
I believe it is because the Sun Belt one got canceled.
Yep.
So, no, we got the Boise State San Jose State game, and you also got the Clemson Notre Dame game.
You're right. That's right. I noticed neither one of us touched that.
Well, that's what I was actually going to say. Before we wrapped up, I was actually going to say that I feel like since it is conference title game weekend, we should probably go out of our way to talk about a couple of these games.
Okay.
With that, you wanted to start off with Clemson, Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's going to be Clemson in a revenge spot there with Trevor Lawrence. Where's that one played, by the way? Is that in Charlotte?
Believe so.
No, they play in the Dome. They play in Atlanta.
I'm just going to confirm that really quickly. They are playing in, drumroll, North Carolina.
Okay, it's in Charlotte. Okay, that's what I couldn't remember. That's right. The SEC plays in Atlanta. All right. Yeah, I would roll with Clemson here, bud. I really would. I know that's a lot of points, but I think this is a Clemson team that has a statement to make, and I think they want to make it. They've seen them once. They've got the tape on them. I think Dabo is able to make the adjustments on defense and hold Book and company down just a little bit more than they were the last. I don't think they let them roll down the field like they did in the last game. I think Trevor Lawrence makes the difference here. Clemson covers the 10.
So for me, we're going to disagree a little bit here. I'm hoping you're right because I have extreme dislike for Notre Dame. I would be thrilled if Notre Dame didn't make the playoff. I think that would be hilarious. But yeah. I think they're going to get in no matter what. Looking at this matchup, though, the issue is people are going, well, Lawrence is playing. He didn't play in the first one. Yeah, the backup at 400-plus passing yards. It's not like the backup was awful. The backup was great the entire game, and they still lost. I think that, don't get me wrong, Clemson will have a motivational angle. I guess it's a conference title game. It's not like I'm going to go ahead and say that one team has a lot more motivation than the other one. It's a conference title game. Who cares? They're both clearly trying to win. I just think Notre Dame's getting disrespected here. This team has rolled all season long for the most part. You had a pretty bad performance against Louisville earlier in the year. But people can talk about the Clemson game. That defensive performance against North Carolina was phenomenal. They gave up 3 points combined over the last 3 quarters. They were great in that game. And I think that Clemson's offense, of course, is very good. Clemson's defense has been, I'd say, a little bit hit or miss.
Yeah, a little underwhelming at times. That's very true.
And I watched Lawrence in his last game against Virginia Tech. To be honest, I thought he sucked just watching that game. I really did not think he was that good.
He looked rusty.
He was rusty. And I think that even though he is, of course, going to go number 1 in the draft, and of course he's supposed to be this generational prospect, he's played 1 game over the last, month and change?
Yeah.
No, he actually played Pittsburgh.
4 or 5 weeks, yeah.
He played against Pittsburgh also, so that also counts. But he only played about a half in that one because they were up 31-0 after the end of the first quarter. So, yeah, I just think Notre Dame's getting disrespected here. I'll take the points at Notre Dame. I think Clemson's going to win, but I think it'll be with around a touchdown. I'll take the points.
What are your thoughts on the by the way, I want to give you props. I was mentioned at the top of the show. We always try to give props to each other when we go head to head. You and I went head to head on the NFL yesterday. You had the
you didn't account for Carr getting injured in the first 5 minutes of the game.
I didn't. You're absolutely right. I'd like to blame that.
I thought Mariota actually played really well.
You know what? He was fine, and he brought a dimension that Carr wouldn't have brought. So
yeah,
I talked about it in the video yesterday when I shot my play of the day. But the one place I would have liked Carr instead of Mariota was throwing that pick late in the fourth quarter. When he threw behind the guy as they were down there inside the 25 or so.
How about overbettors last night, by the way? How about that fun overtime venture? You get 9 points in overtime.
Yeah, we were on the over there, and
we both like the over there.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see because I had the over as a premium play, and I had the Raiders that I took there against you.
You can't argue that one was a bad side or the other. It was just.
No, that was we talked about that. We talked about that before the show.
You probably should have pushed. That was
a lot of people could claim bad beats in that game. They just could. If you had the under, you probably took a bad beat. If you had the Raiders, you took a bad beat. You were about to take a bad beat with the Chargers.
Well, I think if you're the Raiders, you probably had a bad push beat because they would have had to settle for the field goal. I don't think they would have scored a touchdown. I think they would have just wasted all the clock and kicked the field goal at the buzzer.
Yeah, yeah. Although they were certainly taking shots.
I'm saying people might argue the Raiders were a bad beat all around. -3.5 was not a bad beat. You got a terrible number.
Where the Raiders took a bad beat was having 1st and goal at the 5 in a tie game in overtime.
Correct, but I'm making the argument that it probably shouldn't have been overtime in the first place.
Yeah, you can certainly make that argument as the Chargers kicker missed
2 kicks in the last 5 minutes.
Yep.
I had the team total over 24.5. You think I was having a fun time? Missed 2 field goals in the final 5 minutes. Then Herbert fumbles into the end zone on 2nd and goal, and then they recover and has to do it again. That was an all-timer right there. I'll remember that play for a while. That's an all-timer. But anyway, back to college football. We disagree a little bit on the Clemson Notre Dame game.
Yep.
Before we wrap up, I think it's only fitting if we talk about one more game. I feel like we kind of have to talk about the Boise game, right?
Yeah.
The only conference title game that we have not talked about yet. So you want to go first?
I guess.
It's a tough game, but I think we have to talk about it.
Yeah, there's a reason we avoided this game like the plague. This is
San Jose State. There's no way I'm not rooting for San Jose State.
It's a great story. It really is.
We disagreed about them head-to-head last week when you liked Nevada and I was a fan of San Jose State. And truth is, you make the argument if you had Nevada, that was a pretty unfortunate way that game unraveled for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I could make that argument.
Yeah, you had the fumble inside the 2-yard line, which wasn't really a fumble because his knee was down.
Yes.
100-yard kickoff return touchdown, the 99-yard touchdown drive. A lot of plays that just compounded the issue for Nevada.
that fumble inside the one that totally changed the complexion of the game.
I think San Jose State, instead of giving up 7, went 99 yards.
And then those two things, not scoring and then giving up the 99-yard drive, that the game was over. And I knew
pretty much. Yeah.
So this is a great story. This is a a San Jose State team that's kind of been, I don't know, would you call them underachievers or just a program that never was?
They're just an awful program.
Yeah.
It's a Cinderella story. That's what this is.
Boise State has had a season where they've had a hard time covering the number. They played some horrible games.
I'll give them a pass for last week because they were in the middle of a massive snowstorm. I'll give them a pass against Wyoming. But yeah, they haven't really been great about covering the number anyway.
They give up 32 to a Hawaii. They
didn't cover the spread in that game.
Yeah.
I'm still salty about that one. It's up till 2 in the morning watching that game.
Yeah, not good at all. I'm going San Jose State here, bud. All they do is win and cover, buddy. And I'm not sure they're gonna win, but I'll take San Jose State and my 6.5 points. I don't hate that at all. Go Spartans.
The truth is, I really, really want to take San Jose State.
I'm not sure. I'm not conflating my head and my heart. I'll be upfront with everybody.
I don't think I can do it. I hope I'm wrong here, but I think we're going to disagree here. I just think Boise's a different animal. I know that Nevada is a team that we respected earlier in the year. Nevada kind of started to unravel a little bit down the stretch. But you look at who San Jose State has played, beat Air Force, beat New Mexico, beat San Diego State, who has been pretty underwhelming this year.
That's a good win.
It is a good win.
I'm just saying 28. I guarantee you 28's the most anybody's put up against San Diego State.
I'm just saying it's a good win, but San Diego State's definitely not as good as people thought they were going to be before the season started. I think that's a fair statement.
Okay.
They beat UNLV, they beat Hawaii, and they beat Nevada. Now, the Nevada win is impressive, but you look at Boise, and their wins aren't that impressive either.
I was going to say, where's the impressive wins for Boise?
No, that's the point. Their wins aren't impressive either. So it's a tough one. Boise got smacked by BYU with a third-string quarterback.
I would have liked to have seen full-strength Boise play against BYU there to really get an idea of what this team is about.
Just to ask, though, I know we're probably going to agree and think it doesn't matter. Do you think that the stage at some point gets a little bit too big for the Cinderella story?
In a normal situation, yes.
Of course, without the crowd, that definitely plays a factor.
I think that's a huge part of it. I think without the pomp and circumstance and a lot of the other activities that go along with playing in the conference championship game with the build-up and all that, I think that a lot of that's missing this year. I think San Jose State is quietly going to sneak into this game and come away with a cover. It could come away with a victory. You want to play them on the money line plus 205. I don't even hate that play.
I think this will be a massive sweat, but personally, I'm going to lay it with Boise. I'm not happy. I'm not going to play it personally, but Boise's been here so many times. San Jose State, don't get me wrong, they beat Nevada. It's impressive. I think this is a massive step up in competition for them.
Okay.
So I'll lean Boise, but once again, I'm hoping San Jose State wins the game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm rooting for this Spartan team, but I got to go Boise.
I agree. I don't love it. There's a reason that I didn't take it as one of my 3. There's a reason I'm probably not going to take it as a premium or on my play of the day. I think it's a tight line. I think it's a tight game. I really want to see San Jose State, and I really haven't been impressed by anything Boise's done this year. So
I don't blame you.
All right, there you go. All right, Scott, let's recap. Go ahead, bud.
So my 3 picks are going to be on Ohio State minus the 19.5 in the conference title game at minus 114 on FanDuel. Roll Tide Roll, minus 17 at minus 110 on Bet Online. And I'll take the Missouri Tigers minus 1 and minus 110 on Fox Bet.
Timber! Somebody's laying the wood there, buddy.
Yep, laying the 1 with Missouri.
Well, no, obviously that's not.
No, I know. But you agreed with both of my plays. It's
I
just
agree.
one of those you look at and just go, I can't take the other side.
Yeah, you and I are kind of on the same page there with Ohio State. I've took a little different angle. I've got Ohio State Northwestern under 57.5. I am taking the Cyclones to do it against Oklahoma with +6, and I am taking the underdog Tulsa Golden Hurricane at +14 against the rusty Cincinnati Bearcats.
Cool.
All right, buddy, it's been real. Is this going to be it? Are we going to do a separate one for the Bulls or?
I think we kind of have to, right?
Okay, so this is for all the marbles.
Yes. No, I have to ask you one question though.
Okay.
Assuming that we tie, what do we do?
It cannot happen. I mean, I guess it could happen if we
If we tie, if we have the same record.
yeah, if we go the same this weekend.
Now I know, of course, you can say, well, juice and fat, well, whatever. We're talking about like 3-4 cents here. I mean,
No.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know what exactly you want to do for a tiebreaker.
Well, I guess we'll just have to go to
I'll tell you what.
we'll figure it out.
I don't know how confident you are. I'm not confident in my pick on it. I got Boise minus the points. You got San Jose State.
No.
I don't want to take Notre Dame plus the points against Clemson, but I mean, I don't know. Unless we just pick a random game out of a hat and we just got to take random sides. It's like a coin flip. But I don't know. I'll take Wisconsin. You take Minnesota.
No, I don't want to touch that. No,
I don't know. We got to figure out something.
That. All right, we'll make the Boise game the tiebreaker.
Okay, so you got San Jose State. I got Boise.
Yep, I got.
We'll go 6.5 on that one.
Yeah, I got it at 6. I'll take 6.
For the record, we are not playing this game. This is solely for us in case of a tiebreaker.
Yes.
So in case of a tiebreaker, I got Boise minus the 6.5. You got San Jose State plus the 6.5.
And I got San Jose State plus 6.5, right? And I've got.
Works for me.
Man, I've got 2 dogs and an under for my last weekend.
Unless you wanted the Boise side, but I don't think you do.
No circumstances.
Yeah, so fair enough.
All right, very good. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. And for those of you that have watched the whole season, we appreciate it. We've had a lot of fun doing the show. It's coming down to this weekend, so it should be very, very interesting. So, as always, if you're looking for a deeper dive into all these games, not just the ones we talked about, but every game going on this weekend, don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. Of course, if you're having fun, you're like what we're doing here, maybe giving some good information that's helped you make a little money. We'd appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that bell, get notified each time that we put up videos, not just the ones that we do together, but Scott and I each do daily videos separately where we do our plays of the day. So make sure you get notified each and every time those come out. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at winnersandwhiners.com. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for a great regular college football season. Couldn't do it without you guys, and we really appreciate the support. All right, you guys take care. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.